Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Andy Salsky. I serve as the executive pastor here in Phoenix, and I have the opportunity today to talk to you about metrics, or what is referred to in the business world as KPIs, or key performance indicators. You know, when we talk about metrics or we talk about numbers, I know sometimes it can make people feel a little bit uncomfortable and make people feel like I don't want to overemphasize numbers versus the quality or the substance of what is going on in the church. And some people feel that. Some people feel like when you talk too much about numbers, you talk more about width than you talk about depth. You talk more about form than you talk about substance. You talk more about quantity than you do about quality. But really, what we found here in Phoenix is that very much do our KPIs, our metrics, help inform what we're doing in terms of getting the quality of what God is wanting to do in people's lives, getting clarity on what that is and where to spend our ministry and our leadership energies. You know, when you go to the doctor, one of the first things that happens to you is that either the doctor or the nurse, they'll take vital signs. They'll gather some metrics on what's going on in your body. They'll gather temperature. They'll gather blood pressure. If you're reporting on some issues of not feeling healthy, they'll dig in a little bit deeper. Sometimes you'll get blood work, and it will give you an indication of what's going on the inside. In the same way, our KPIs, our metrics, are helpful for us because they give us a clear indication of what's currently going on in the church. What's the story of what God is doing? What are some of the tension points that need some of our attention? What adjustments do we need to make so that the vision of God can continue to be fulfilled? These KPIs, these metrics are super helpful for us and super helpful for you as the executive pastor as you seek to serve your senior pastor, you serve the vision of the church, and you are able to help direct energy and direct ministry attention and leadership focus to the areas that need that attention, so that the church, that the body, so that your people can continue to be healthy and strong and can continue to meet with God. For me, I love metrics, I love numbers, and I track a whole bunch of them. But for the ones I would recommend for you, to be four basic ones: attendance, giving, guests per Sunday, and life groups. In terms of attendance, obviously, just getting a number of how many people are attending your church per Sunday is very helpful. I also, on top of that, I like to dive in a little bit deeper, and I like to know the demographic breakdown of the types of people in their stage of life that are coming to the church. This is helpful not only just to know what people you have, but also it helps you know and inform your life group ministry, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. Another lens I like to use when I look at attendance isn't just the number, but actually the breakdown per service. We have multiple services here in Phoenix, and so knowing how many people are attending which service gives me a good idea of which services can grow and which services are closer to capacity. And the final lens I like to look at is a year-over-year look, or a year-over-year comparison of what happened on one Sunday, and comparing that or projecting what will happen on upcoming Sundays. And I do the same thing with different seasons of ministry. Our springs and our falls, as you all know, are typically our busiest times, and with our summers being a little bit slower, and we're able to make projections and make decisions about what types of events that we'll do, what sermon series we're going to preach, what we're going to do with our community in different times because of those year-over-year glances. And so I like to track the year-over-year look with attendance. The second KPI or metric area that I like to look at is giving trends. Getting a solid number of the tithe income for a Sunday is very helpful. This is helpful for you not just to know that particular Sunday, but also to get Sunday after Sunday, and you can discover what averages are coming in every week, and this will help you know how you're trending towards the budget that you've set. Another way I like to look at giving is also comparing the giving to the attendance that was there on a Sunday. This will give you your giving per person on a Sunday. And for a church that's our size, and that we have about 25% of our church as college students, our target is in the $30 to $35 per person per week, and that's a healthy giving culture. That helps us know that the culture of being generous, of our finances being surrendered to God, is getting into our people. If you have a larger percentage of college students in your church, that number may be a little bit lower, in the 27 to 30 range. But overall, you're using your attendance and your giving on a Sunday to track your giving per person, and that helps you know how well that culture, that DNA, is getting into them. And the final area, the final lens I look at with giving trends is looking at a 6, 8, and 10 week trend. The reason I do this isn't just to track how how well we're growing or how well things are improving over time, but it's super helpful for us when it comes to budget season. I'm able to take those 6, 8, and 10 weeks and really get a clear a picture of how we're finishing the year, and then I'm able to make projections on top of that as we seek to make our budget. And so that's our giving. That's our look at the giving metric. The third area that I like to look at is the guests per Sunday. This helps us know how well we're reaching out to our community, how well our evangelism strategy is being implemented among the people. And typically we gather, and you can gather your guest numbers through a myriad of ways, but the two major ways you'll gather guest numbers are through a welcome card that you utilize and having people attend your maybe a next room or a place where they can meet some of your staff members, and then, as well as the second area is your your kids check-in. And so between your welcome card and your kids check-in, that's going to give you a pretty good idea of the guests that are present on a Sunday. Typically, we found that only represents about 2/3 of the guests that are there, and so you can add another 1/3 on top of that, and that will give you a whole number of the guests that are present with you, new people who are experiencing you for the first time. And the goal is to have about 5% of your church every Sunday of new people. That's a good indication that you're reaching out, that people know that you're accessible, and then they can come taste and see God's goodness, God's presence in your community. The final metric, the KPI that we encourage churches to look at, is life group ministry. Typically, our goal is to offer one life group for every 10 people in a particular stage of life demographic. And so if you have 100 college students, offering 10 life groups for those college students is ideal, and that helps them be assimilated and integrated into the church culture. So knowing the number of life groups that you have in comparison to the stage of life demographics that you're measuring through attendance is a very helpful indicator. The second way we look at life groups is the percentage of people that are attending life group. Our goal is to have 75 to 80% of our people in life group, and so I'm able to look at on a quarterly basis how many people in each stage of life demographic are attending those life groups that we offer, and I'm able to track how well our life groups are performing, how well people are getting connected to us and getting involved with our community here. Overall, these are there's many more. These are the major areas of metrics that we look at. You may be saying, Andy, that's great. I love that. I want to do that, but I really don't know how. And I just want to give you a quick snapshot of how we do it here in Phoenix. I utilize Google Sheets and I've made a bunch of different spreadsheets and I enter in data, often every week and sometimes every single day as I'm able to collect it. And I'm able to use my Google Sheets to track the numbers. But what I was discovering is that with a bunch of different metrics and a bunch of different lenses that we're looking through, I couldn't see all the desired metrics or KPIs in one single place. And so through that, I decided to do some research of what's some different software that's out there. Dashboard, it's often called dashboard software, that will help me see all my KPIs in one single area. And through that, I came down to two companies that were really promising. One's called Gecko Board and one's called Clipfolio. And we decided to go with a company called Clipfolio, and what it essentially allows me to do is build individual clips for each metric area and to display them all on one single dashboard, so I can just do one glance and have all the vital signs of the health of our church, everything that's going on in the church that's helpful for me to know what's going on and know where I need to manage or need to direct some attention. If you have any questions about how you can track metrics in your location or what kind of dashboard software is going to work best for you, or maybe if you're interested in Clipfolio, I can help you get that going in your church location as well. Please don't hesitate to let me know. In this journey that we're all in together, we're always seeking to improve, we're always seeking to get better. And I know when I'm trying to take on something for the first time, oftentimes I'm just imitating what somebody else is doing. But once I get a handle of that, once I feel like I'm getting pretty good, it's at that point that I can not just imitate, but I can innovate. And so what I would encourage you guys to start with is start by imitating. Do what we do here, or do what you've seen somebody else do. Just imitate first, and then once you get a grasp on what you're looking for and what's most helpful for you, feel free to innovate. And I really believe that we're better together than we are apart. And so as we all continue to innovate and grow and we continue to collaborate, we're only going to get better as executive pastors, better at serving our senior pastors, and better at serving and leading in our churches. I hope this was helpful for you guys. And again, don't hesitate to reach out to me if you need anything. And I look forward to seeing you at USCon this summer. Bless you guys.